What's going on, guys? This is David for Flix Talk podcast, and I'm back with another huge review. Now, I got to tell you guys, I watched 4 movies this week: Peppermint, The Predator, A Simple Favor, and now White Boy Rick. And I got to tell you, out of all of those, White Boy Rick, I should have seen first. This was probably my favorite of the whole week, and probably one of the top movies that I've seen this summer. And I feel like this was a movie that the trailer was shown so much, but it still kind of slept on it. I mean, the reason why I say that is because it's not even playing at all my movie theaters. Lucky I got it at my local AMC, but they weren't playing it in like any IMAX, like Super Dolby Digital type thing. It was a regular small digital theater. And that's cool, but sometimes I like the smaller ambiances. But you could tell that the people scattered around just kind of really stumbled upon this film by accident. Because anybody that knows me knows I love those hood movies. And what I mean by hood movies is those that are usually set in the crime world where people start from the bottom and kind of work their way up to that top tier. Now, right off the bat, White Boy Rick is based on a true story. I haven't checked the facts yet, but man, this kid had a crazy life. Now, this film is directed by Jan Demange. I don't know too much from him, and the movies that are listed here, I haven't seen at all. So this being my first movie, White Boy Rick, checking out, I say he did an amazing job, and keep him coming, man. And this film stars Matthew McConaughey, Richie Merritt, who is the face of White Boy Rick, and he's making his actual actor debut in this film. And this movie also stars Belle Powley, who I caught earlier this year in the movie called The Wildling. You gotta check that one out. That one is freaking gnarly. Now, you also get a nice array of co-hosts like Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was in The Hateful Eight, as well as the rapper YG. Now, I haven't seen him in anything else, but he actually did a pretty good job of acting as far as being a rapper. Now, a quick synopsis for White Boy Rick. The story of teenager Richard Wersch Jr., who became an undercover informant for the FBI during the 1980s and was ultimately arrested for drug trafficking and sentenced to life in prison. Now, starting off with the whole aesthetic of the film, it is set in Detroit in the 1980s, and you get a very grim and bleak look at what it is to be on the streets around that time. So you get to see a lot of homeless, poverty, a lot of guns and drugs being thrown around left and right, and it really gives you that sense of you're in the slums and you have no way to get out. So right away, we're introduced to Matthew McConaughey, who does play Rick's father, and he is someone that goes to gun shows, buys up a lot of guns, modifies them, and then resells them on the streets. That's usually his main source of income, so he's kind of dragging Rick along, and he shows him the ropes, and he shows him all about guns, so that's what Rick knows. That's his life currently. Also, we're introduced to Rick's sister, who's not doing too well with the men in her life. She hangs out with a bunch of deadbeat druggies, and she eventually becomes a druggie herself. Now, just a heads up, guys, I'm giving you just factual stuff that's not only in the trailer, but based on true life. You guys can look this stuff up for yourself. But anyways, all the stuff that I'm going to give you guys is in the trailer, so it's not spoiler related at all. Rick then proceeds to take those modified guns, and he wants to help out his father as much as he can and get as much money for his father as he can to keep the roof over his head and the bills paid. So what he does is he goes to a local drug dealer and then proceeds to sell those weapons and try to conduct his own little business on the side, for, far from his dad even knowing what's going on. Now, the police and FBI actually catch wind of this, and they're already watching this guy that he's selling to, and then they grab Rick up and they put him in the back of the car and they say, hey, we want you to get more information on this guy, and we're going to pay you for it. So right away, he gets intrigued with the whole payment aspect of it, not knowing the consequences that it's going to bring later on. Rick then develops a whole bond with him and kind of like the crew members that are around with these drug dealers, and he kind of forms his own little crew and then just starts selling, drugs on the side, and he basically just starts emulating what he sees in the street. He starts buying up chains. He becomes that flashy guy that he's hanging all around with. So as he starts going up the tier, like I said, more heat kind of comes upon the crew. No one knows who to trust, and then things go sideways and south. I'm not going to give you the spoilers like I always say, guys, but you guys need to watch this one for yourself. It is a very unbelievable, wild story of a 15-year-old informant, drug dealer, kingpin, gun runner. It's wild to know that this was based on a true story, and I really want to look up the facts now seeing this film. Another huge highlight of this movie was the music and the score. Not only the hits that were around in the 80s, hip-hop hits, you had a lot of soul music in there, especially when they're at the roller disco and stuff like that. But even in between that, you had some symphonies of scores, of orchestras going on to kind of build that tension of him walking into a room or walking out of some place into a dark alley. And it really set the ambiance for what was to come in this movie. Now, a huge standout of this movie was Richie Merritt. Now, I already know Belle Powley can act. I saw her, and she has a very distinguishable face, and I know she's going to go on to do great things. But this kid, Richie Merritt, this is his first movie, and I think he did an excellent job. I kind of really captured the whole feeling that he was from Detroit. He was from that slum, and he was just really just trying to make it out any way he could.
Look how we're living. We got to do something, Dad. We got to make some money.
And he really played that kid that was not book smart at all. I think actually right in the beginning of the movie, Matthew McConaughey, his father, has to explain to him like what a simile or a metaphor is. And he's not all there. He's kind of on the slow train, if you guys know what I mean. There's also a funny scene where he picks up a chain because it has a star on it, just because he thinks it looks cool. And his dad says, "What are you doing, converting to Judaism?" And he has no clue what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about the Star of David. So I thought it was a real wild movie, guys, really gritty. If you guys are into street crime, dramatic films, I definitely recommend White Boy Rick. I'm probably going to pick this one up and add it to my collection when it comes out on Blu-ray. I liked it that much. And because of that, I'm going to give this a high rating of 8.5 out of 10. Telling you guys to check this one out at full price value. Don't worry, you're going to love it. All right, guys, if you like White Boy Rick as much as I did, please leave a comment below letting me know. And if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, guys. And make sure you are hitting that subscribe button if you aren't already. And share this video to someone that loves movies and needs to know about Flix Talk. And last but not leastly, make sure you guys are hitting that bell notification so you're always alerted with all my new content, vlogs, reviews, out and about, whatever. It's all going to be here if you guys hit that bell notification. All right, guys? That being said, this is David for Flix Talk signing out, saying thanks for watching.